Welcome, everyone. We're doing the Your Little Castle show from Florida. I'm on here with Mark Inman, Greenmark High Performance. I've got his website right here, everybody, and that is homegreenmark.com. Did I get that right, Mark?
Yes. Mhm.
Tell me about what you're offering. This is a pretty cool concept you come up here. After we had a little pregame discussion, we call it the pregame prep. Wow. I mean, I have personally been through a problem where I won't name any names, but I had a company come in and tell me I needed a whole new unit, right? Whole new air conditioning unit. And then I called around a little bit more. And I called a buddy of mine. He says, no, you needed a new capacitor. It was a $75 fix. What
Mm.
was going on there, Mark? What was going on there?
Well, the um, heating and cooling industry um, likes to sell stuff instead of fix stuff. Um, I'm not saying that's bad or good. It's just what they do. Okay, where the home performance industry actually fixes stuff uh, forever. We take the whole house approach to fixing homes. Our pillars are safety, durability, health, comfort, and energy. If you don't have the first floor, you don't have energy. You'll most homes that are unhealthy and uncomfortable are not energy efficient. So what we do is do what we call an energy audit on your home. It takes us about, when we get to the home, it takes us about 2 to 3 hours to do this audit because we're looking at everything that has with your house that has to do with comfort, health, durability. So that's a lot of stuff. Um, we do not compartmentalize the house. We treat the house as a whole. Mm. When one compartment doesn't work, it affects another compartment. For instance, if you don't have insulation, it'll put strains on your heating and cooling systems, and make the house uncomfortable. And the house will be dusty and have lots of odors. Mm. Uh, Myself, when I was a child, I got sick due to a wet house. And today, when I walk in a house, I can actually smell if the house has problems.
So
Um,
tell me that. Let me interrupt you there because I wasn't. You mentioned it earlier. I think I understand, but I want our audience here to understand. What is a wet house? What does that mean? Does that mean there's a dirt cellar basement? What does a wet house mean?
well, what a wet house means is it doesn't necessarily doesn't have to be water. It can just be vapor, from showering, taking showers, from doing laundry, washing dishes, um, whatever, you know, showers, washing dishes, doing, uh, washing clothes. And what happens is we live in a closed society. We do not open our windows and doors like we used to. We go from one season to another. And what happens, when we're creating all this moisture in our house, and if there's a lot of holes in the house, which is bringing a lot of hot, humid air in the summertime, um, in where does it go? You don't have, your windows and doors are not open. So what you have to do is have good ventilation. And 90% of the homes we go into do not have adequate ventilation. What I mean by adequate ventilation is that their kitchen exhaust doesn't work, their bathroom exhausts don't work. They have large holes that are connected to in their attic that are connected to the living space, as well as the basement has a lot of holes as well where air is coming in. And 30 to 40% of what you breathe in a home comes from attics and basements. And that's not the best air quality to breathe. And plus, it makes the home very uncomfortable. And But we just know how to fix them. So that uh, the, the
Yeah.
day that we fix your house, that night you will know that we fixed it just by the feel of the house.
Okay. So
What?
let me help understand this a little bit. If I can, layman's terms for me, I'm just, and I think I got it there, but I want to make sure people understand. When you have moisture we talked about this in pregame discussion here. Moisture is bad in a house, period, right? That's where mold develops. I know of a house that had mold, just 1 inch of water in the basement, but that was enough for the uh, the lower level. There was some finished, the finished part of the basement, and it just got in the lower level of the basement, and then it seeped up, it crawled up the walls, and the
Right,
mold came up on the walls.
right.
That's now in the house, gets through the ventilation, goes all over the place. They got problems.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You
And
come in and say, here's how we actually fix this versus, and I know this has happened. Tell me if this is true and how this works. They say, hey, and I know of another instance, they didn't have adequate insulation. So instead of just fixing the insulation, they say, hey, let's put a bigger, more expensive, more powerful air conditioning unit, heating and cooling probably, so that during the winter you can make it warm and during the summer you can make it cool. It's a 2-in-1 system, right? That's what they do, these things. And just buy a whole new system. Well, it could have been easily remedied with just insulation, one-time cost, putting the proper insulation in. And you advise on that. Is that what happens?
yes, yes. We check to make sure the attic has adequate insulation. But what we really do is air seal the attic so that no air can come in. Insulation is not an air barrier. It's just a barrier against heat.
Okay. I got
So
you. Yeah. So
yeah,
you're still going to get some water, and that causes mold. Mice are a big problem. Talk about the mice
oh yeah.
problem you run into very often, and the
Well,
feces, really,
yeah,
I guess, right?
yeah, right. The mice and the bugs come in through holes, through the rim joists of the basement and through holes that in the attic that are connected to the living space. We go into attics all the time where there's just mice feces everywhere. Now,
Right.
in that case, in 90% of the time, we are removing all the existing insulation in that attic because that insulation has been contaminated. And again, like I mentioned earlier, you're breathing that air that's coming in into your house from
Right.
your
So what you're really having, so this again, every business is on this planet, hopefully to solve a problem, right? Or else they don't stay in business. Obviously, you've been doing this for quite a while. There's a
yeah,
lot of people who have this problem going on, and they don't
no,
even know it. What percentage
no.
of houses do you think have this problem? They're just like, well, I know when I go over to Aunt Gina's, I just have a tough time breathing over there. I don't know what. Oh, well, the windows were not open or whatever they come up with. They don't understand what's going on. The bigger problem, and fixing it doesn't mean a new HVAC system. It means getting the place sealed correctly so that the airflow is proper. Because this breathing thing is kind of important. Is that true?
Yes, yeah. Our motto in the industry is uh, seal tight and vent right. So when we seal your house, we're going to vent it as well. We're going to vent the attic. We're going to vent the kitchen, the bathrooms. So everything, anything, you're moving air throughout these compartments, and it's just it's a more comfortable, healthier house.
Okay, so now to help reiterate, so the people understand. I mean, this is you do a free evaluation, or what does it cost for somebody to have you come
We
out?
do charge for the uh, audit because we are
Okay,
spending a lot of time there.
okay.
And the first visit, we're there 3 to 4 hours. And we're also doing a blower door test on the house, which puts the house in negative pressure.
What
So
is it called?
a
I'm
blower
sorry, what
door
was it?
test. We did
Is it like a
blower door
barometer
test.
thing?
No,
Okay.
it's a blower. It's a fan that is we put on the front door of the house, and we put the house in negative pressure, which tells us how many air exchanges an hour you're getting. Okay. On
How
the
much air is
average,
going in? I know air is going
yeah,
in and out of my house, whether I know it or not. Even if
right.
everything, if I think everything's closed, there's still leaks. Or I know a little leak I've got in my front door, very at the
Oh yeah.
bottom. Air's coming in and out of there. Air outside is usually better or worse. Depends
Well,
where you're
the
at.
air outside is 4 times better than the air inside the house. That's why
Wow.
you need to open windows and doors because there's a lot of contamination in houses, especially the newer the house, the worse they are because they're full of formaldehyde that's in all these boards, and furniture board, cabinets, flooring, all this laminate flooring off gases. It's all petroleum products.
Wow.
So if
Okay.
you buy a new house, I will tell you this: if you buy a new house and go in that and live in that house for any length of time with windows and doors closed, you're going to get sick.
Wow. And so,
You're going to get, migraines. It's going to affect your sinuses, your respiratory.
well, it
So,
sounds like it. And I'm just kind of getting a tour of the upstairs here at this wonderful restaurant. But we're in Florida for everybody again. And can I show them how I'm dressed here, Mark? Is that okay?
yeah,
Because we do have fun. And so we're sitting down here. I've got my socks on. This is what the Cardinal Cowboy gets to enjoy doing down at any game. When we were down here at Cacti Park, Houston Astros Stadium, they share with the Washington Nationals for spring training. Cardinals, they tied today, by the way, everybody. So if you can figure out what game, if you're watching our recording here, maybe you're watching this recording a year later. But Mark has some valuable information here. I would strongly advocate you go to homegreenmark.com. I'm going to pull myself up here. Look at this. Lots of great information here. What do you, when somebody goes to your website, Mark, what do you think? What do you advocate the first thing they should do when they go to that website?
is contact us if they have any of these issues that I'm talking about in their houses. And you can do it through by email, or you can call us, and we'll be glad to come out to your house. And well, first we'll talk to you. We'll do a little short interview on the phone to see if we could be of service to you, and if you could be of service to us. But we discuss what the costs are for us to come out and do this home energy audit.
And it sounds to me like it's a very valuable thing. That just what percentages of houses do you run into that just they're perfectly fine? They don't need your services. Be honest with me. What are the numbers? Would you say?
It's pretty low. Yeah, it's pretty low. I would say 10%.
10% of houses.
Service. Yeah.
Well, that's why I say ultimately you're saving people a lot of money
by
money. having this audit done. Because right. I know I got to quote I was fortunate as a youth in my 20s and 30s. I was running the email systems for Anheuser-Busch. You can imagine they paid me fairly nicely. Fun story, after surviving a coma, they said I was going to be a vegetable, proved them wrong. Next thing I know, I'm answering phones, then I'm building email systems. But the point is, I built a big house, 3,300 square foot. How many problems do I probably have there that you would be able to detect within an hour of investigation, maybe 2 hours? And my point is, this is something everybody should be doing, because you got a big house, you're more susceptible to bigger problems, right?
Yes. The bigger the house, the bigger the problem, because we addressed the chimney effect. What goes out of the house must come into the house. And that's going on 24/7, whether you like it or not. And if it's a newer home, majority of the time, there is some air sealing issues that we should seal, attic and basements, we should seal the holes, but it's usually a ventilation problem, where the kitchen exhaust fan is recirculating back into the house. The bathroom fans they're just cheap, and they're not even pulling air out of the bathrooms. And if they are, they're just dumping into the attics. So, yeah, the bigger the big houses, they can be very uncomfortable, because they're big. I mean, there's a lot of air moving through them.
Right, and it's worse than that. Just not to create a scarecrow effect. Oh my gosh! But it's literally like this is your lungs we're talking about, right? And so if somebody has breathing problems and they don't know where it's coming from, buying a new air conditioning unit isn't really going to fix the problem either, is it?
No, our windows and doors, or insulation. Most people self-diagnose when they have issues when it comes to durability, safety, and health and comfort. They call the wrong trade set. They'll call the heating and cooling guy, or the insulator, or the window and door guy, and that's when they get into trouble, because them guys have an agenda when they come to your house. They want to sell you what they're offering.
Right. They call it a profit. What's your profit center? Where do you make your most money? Well, hopefully you're making the most money on something that actually fixes the problem. But what you're saying is, nothing against the HVAC guys. No. They're doing what they're supposed to do according to what they know.
Right.
But Mark can tell them, hey, here's some things they don't know that include that's not really the problem. And the problem is the ventilation more than anything, and just sealing the area in a big house. What's the average person spend to have you? And I guess it ranges anywhere from, or you might say, here's your audit. You can try to fix some of these things yourself. What do you recommend?
What on the audit? What we charge or what?
Yeah, give us a ballpark for that number so we can help people.
We
You know, you
usually
can say,
charge about $500 for a whole house audit.
and that $500 audit can literally save them their health, for
their health,
one, which is kind of important.
yeah, and know where their problems lie, so they don't just throw money at stuff. You
Right,
know?
and that's when you get into why should I buy a new HVAC unit? The
Yeah.
problem's still not fixed.
Right.
It just made them feel a little more comfortable because the temperature was all right, but they're still getting bad air, bad, dirty air. Is it better? It might be. They might as well smoke a pack of cigarettes every day, for versus what they're not. There's whole studies about that, but you're really helping them live in a clean, more natural. You're saying the air. Repeat this for everybody who might have missed this. The air outside is 4 times better than the air inside.
Correct. Or the air inside is 4 times worse than the air outside. Okay. But
I go inside because it's nice, clean air. It's not true.
people, it's called an energy audit, but people do not call me for energy. They call me for comfort. Okay. And then we educate them on the health, a part of air sealing and insulating the house. Because most people can't, they can't understand that. You know, they just don't know what to do.
Well, it sounds like what you're providing is a very valuable service, especially for those who are concerned with breathing, right? Breathing is kind of important. We want to make sure if we are anywhere on this planet, and that one hits home for me a little bit. Personal story with my dad. I'll talk about some other time. But man, if you can't breathe, your lungs are bad shape. That can cause long-term serious effects that you don't want to play around with. It's worth, Mark, answer me this if you would. You'll have a conversation with someone over the phone just to kind of have a quick discussion with them.
Mhm.
Is there any charge for that, or how do you handle that?
No, there's no charge for that. No, and it's a good. We have they're good questions, and it's a good conversation to have before we even come out. If you want us to come out to your house after we've talked on the phone, we almost we just want to see if we're a match.
It sounds like you're doing some wonderful work. We might have Mark come into our studio for a full interview where we'll have all the bells and whistles up here so he can really share what he does in more depth. But take a look at his website, everybody. I'm going to pull myself up here, but look at there. There it is, homegreenmark.com, and you can see all the valuable information in there. Mark, you can take this little interview we've done right here from where I put it on my probably on my YouTube. Put it right here on your website if you'd like, and help people understand. If you don't have time to call Mark, or if Mark's busy, watch this little chat we had here. Very valuable information you shared with everybody here. Could make a big difference in somebody's life and health. Would you agree?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And comfort.
And comfort too. Comfort's also something that people must consider. Well, thank you again, Mark, for your time. I'm going to stop the recording here and finish up with you after I hit the stop recording button. And I appreciate you taking time to do a live recording here with us while we're down in beautiful West Palm Beach, just watching the Cardinals. They didn't lose today. They didn't win. In spring training, they let you tie sometimes. They tied 1-1. Mark, are you a Cardinal fan at all?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Good policy to be a Cardinal fan if you're doing business in St. Louis, right?
That's right.
All right. Thank you, Mark, for your time, and we'll finish up right now.
Okay.